Hello, in this video I'm going to talk about how I finally decided that I couldn't narrow my occupations roster down anymore. I'm going to talk through about why and kind of what I would do from here. So right now I have 5 occupations left on my roster. I have interpreter, counseling psychologist, clinical psychologist, nurse practitioner, and OBGYN. And so looking at these, they fall into kind of 3 categories. You've got interpreter, then like psychologist of some kind, and then kind of medical field. But those are all kind of separate from one another, and they would require very distinct career paths. And so kind of all of these jobs would require some graduate work moving forward. So right now I would need some form of postgraduate past my bachelor's degree. But what I would need are very different. And so for counseling psychologist, clinical psychologist, I would need a PhD in psychology. For interpreter, I would probably need either a master's or another associate's in sign or interpretation. And then for nurse practitioner, OBGYN, I would either need a master's or a medical degree. And so keeping that in mind, how I knew that I was done narrowing down is when I really can't decide which one I would prefer most. And I'm in kind of that unique position, and especially if you're early on in your career development process, that I can look at all of these things and say, really, I would enjoy all of these. I have the skills, or I'm interested in developing the skills for all of these. I have the ability to get the education that I need to have all of these, and all of these are consistent with my family's culture and family and cultural expectations. And if you get to that point, then that's awesome. And if you get to that point and you're like, I really can't narrow any down anymore, then you've got a couple of choices to make. And there are a couple of things that you can do. If you're early on in your career process, then you can start Googling more. You can talk to people who have these jobs. You can learn a little bit more about what does it require to become that. So for example, I might find out that, organic chemistry is not something I'm willing to do again, just not doing it. And that would eventually narrow that down and hopefully get further down into this is what I want to do with my life. But if you think about it, this can actually kind of be a freeing thing too. I would enjoy all of these things. That's so cool. And now it's just kind of picking which one would I like best, or which one is most applicable to the most number of jobs. And so I want to emphasize that this is normal. Like, if you have to pick something now, then you have a little bit more research on your hands. Again, it comes down to which of these might fit. Which of these, you can also say something like, which of these has the most general requirements? You can narrow from there. So if you haven't started college yet, you might consider getting a degree that's psychology or biology, something that's applicable to either medical school or a PhD program. Or you might consider, picking up, if you're interested in interpretation, I could pick up American Sign Language as a minor and use that to pass the interpretation test that I might need. A lot of this comes down to where you're at. And so me personally, I have a bachelor's degree in psychology. And so keeping that in mind, that I would need more education for pretty much everything except counseling and clinical psychologist, for me, the path of least resistance is either going to be getting an associate's degree and working as an interpreter, or continuing my education to be some kind of psychology clinician. And that's a great place to be. And so where we're at now is, like I said, if you have the time to narrow more and you feel comfortable narrowing more, then feel free to do that. But if you don't, then you've got some decisions to make and determining what is the best fit, which again, as I said, can be kind of freeing. It's also a little scary, but I have faith in you. I think that you can do it. And so I wish you luck with you determining what you're going to do with the rest of your life. But I also want you to tell you that don't sweat it so much, because I promise it will probably work out.